Namaste. This is Krishna Prakash, founder of Srimati Yoga, a residential and online yoga school located at the outskirts of Bangalore and operating since the year 2011. We have done more than 75 batches of yoga and yoga nidra teacher training courses since then, and we have students spread across 43 countries as of now, including India. We are very honored to be an associate center of Indian Yoga Association. Though we are there since 2011, since 2014, the International Day of Yoga announced by the United Nations has enabled yoga to spread far and wide in an authentic way. So the guidelines provided by Indian Yoga Association has first helped all the yoga institutes across the globe to standardize their course offerings into foundation, certificate, and advanced certificate courses. This standardization is the need of the hour so that every participant, seeker, or a student gets an idea about the complete system of yoga, not just the asana and pranayama part. So a big thanks to Indian Yoga Association and its governing council and all the people who are enabling its fantastic functioning. Then, if we notice this International Day of Yoga celebration is not just limited to the June 21st of this month, this entire month of June would be celebrated, and some institutes like us have decided to make it a 365-day affair. So again, thanks to the guidance given by the Indian Yoga Association. Now, the topic taken for today is Yoga Nidra. It is a concept which is catching up the minds and the hearts of people across globe. Yes. The esoteric mention of Yoga Nidra in our scriptures need to be understood first, because it is not a concept initiated fresh by Swami Satyananda Saraswati in the 1960s. He said that the traditional Yoga Nidra, which was done by the practitioners in the past, the rishis and yogis and siddhas of the yoga, is an extremely strenuous process, and the mind of today may not be able to comprehend or practice it to the fullest to derive the intended benefits. So Swami Satyananda tweaked that process and redesigned that process. Now, where does this term Yoga Nidra appear first? We see that in the first chapter of one of the 18 Puranas, Markandeya Purana, wherein Yoga Nidra is mentioned as an aspect of the Supreme Reality herself, which manifests over and over again to fulfill the desires of the gods and goddesses. To facilitate the cosmic sustenance, she resides in Bhagavan Sri Vishnu as Yoga Nidra. So this is the grand introduction about the concept of Yoga Nidra given in the tradition. Markandeya Purana further states that passion and ignorance are the two demonic qualities that come in the way of optimal functioning of any manifestation, because they exponentially amplify the sense of ego in any being, leading to untamable arrogance, thereby resulting in the downfall of the individual themselves. This is what we see in the day-to-day life. So these two demonic qualities are characterized as Madhu and Kaitaba, and they are seen to be residing in as earwax in Mahavishnu himself. Being in charge of creation, Brahma thus prays to Yoga Nidra to awaken Mahavishnu so that he could annihilate passion and destroy ignorance. Madhu and Kaitaba are characterized as passion and ignorance. And when Mahavishnu woke up as if it were, he saw these two demonic forces ferociously staring at Lord Brahma to finish his existence itself. Then Mahavishnu intervened, fought with them for 1,000 years. And during the course of the fight, the demons, being personification of passion and ignorance, in their height of arrogance, wished to grant boon to Mahavishnu because they felt Mahavishnu was doing a great job of fighting valiantly against them for thousands of years. See the vanity. To this, the Lord asked for their lives. What else he would ask? Then only the sustenance of the world is viable, right? So that's what he exactly asked, the boon to be killed by him. So what are the insights from this Puranic incident we can derive? First, it is extremely difficult to escape from the jaws of passion and ignorance. Second, it takes years of practice to overcome these two qualities because intellectually we may understand that passion and ignorance stand in our way of realization, but to put in practice, we need the guidance of tradition, teachers, and some processes to follow. Third, consumed by passion and ignorance, one can go to any extreme in life. So we have to be very careful. The fourth insight we could derive is dictated by arrogance, one can extend unthinkable promises. It cannot be fulfilled. It may even be a problem to our own existence, like how it happened in the case of Madhu and Kaitava. The fifth quality which or insight which we could derive is if passion and ignorance are not tamed in time, they may consume our very life. So these are the insights we derive from the esoteric background of Yoga Nidra. Like how the supreme reality's manifestation of Yoga Nidra awakened Mahavishnu so that he could neutralize these demons, we too could take up the practice of Yoga Nidra to work systematically to understand what motivates us, what inspires us, and also we can learn to manifest a few non-negotiable desires in our life so that we feel that life can be fulfilling. So for this reason, Yoga Nidra can be considered as an important process for us to understand ourselves. So now let's see the tantric origin of Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra is derived from the tantric concept called nyasa. Nyasa means to withdraw. Like how an actor on stage withdraws from their personality and becomes the character themselves. Through the technique of nyasa, one can withdraw from their personality to what they really are. That is, we are all simple human beings first. But as human beings, we are clothed in various sheets like gender, religion, culture, nationality, so on and so forth. It is these sheets which are not allowing us to access that simple, vibrant human being what we are. So, to reach the core of our being, one needs to learn to withdraw from these sheets systematically, and the procedure of Nyasa facilitates that. So, this is what is exactly fine tuned and recreated for our benefit by Swami Satyananda Saraswati of Bihar School of Yoga. Yoga Nidra as a practice was not known in public till he introduced it at Bihar School in 1960s as a part of the teacher training program. He intuited that Yoga Nidra in its original form would not appeal to the current generation because we wanted to know what is in it for me in everything we do and every action we do, be it spiritual or otherwise. Being an acclaimed master himself, he was wise enough to understand this problem as well as the reducing attention span of many practitioners. Seeing all this, he restructured this ancient practice to suit the level and needs of our contemporary society. Thus, he built a lot of therapeutic benefits in the practice of Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra and Dharbasan Sakhara. Apart from being recommended by Ayurveda practitioners, a similar practice is still there in India, which is called the Dharbasan Sakhara. This is being carried out at many traditional Indian households, particularly when it comes to the context of motherhood. While the lady of the home is pregnant, during labor, and also during the upbringing of the child, The mother is the primary source which the child receives not only nutrition from food, but also in the thoughts and whatever the knowledge it receives. Thus, what a mother eats, what she listens to, what she reads, what she writes, what she experiences, how she treats others, how others treat her, all this impact the child, both when the child is in the mother's womb and after it is delivered. Till the child develops a very strong personality or an individuality of its own, which generally happens between 5 to 7 years, it absorbs everything happening around like a sponge, whether it understands the meaning, the context or not. It just absorbs everything which is happening around. So there is no differentiation of right or wrong in a child at that time, because whatever happens, it takes it to be real. So this is an extremely important point to note. It is only after that stage, the ego, the judgment, everything develops in the child. Thus, Swami Satyananda used his own learning and the traditional Indian way of bringing up a child to restructure, fine tune, and release the version of Yoginidra that is widely being practiced today. Yoginidra can help adolescent individuals to stay in touch with being open to new vistas of learning and becoming extremely aware as human beings. Akin to Ashtanga Yoga, Swamiji has shared the 8 steps involved in the practice of Yoga Nidra. Now, there is a lot of connection between the practice of Yoga Nidra and how the brain functions. In fact, the entire process of Yoga Nidra is designed to tap the potential that each of us have inherently as a human being. For example, without getting into much detail in the technical way, I would like to state that frontal lobe, the reticular activating system, the limbic system, and the occipital lobe in our brain are all completely involved. There are other centers of the brain involved, but to begin with, if we understand these things, it will be very good. So, how to know more about how these things are connected with Yoga Nidra? The Yoga Nidra system is built around the concept of Sankalpa. Sankalpa is a resolve, which in turn is a desire which you wish to see coming true in your own life. You know that it is extremely important, but we are not able to find ways and means to bring that out in reality. So, what Sankalpa does is it helps us to manifest the desires which we have, because many of our stress and tension we have in life is because we don't know how to manifest the desires which are appearing to be very important for us to lead the day-to-day life. So before seeding the Sankalpa, the effect of the relaxation component of Yoga Nidra directly is seen in the frontal lobe. It is as if the switch to relaxation of each body part is activated in the brain. This part is publicly and popularly referred to as the little man in the brain. Thus, the frontal lobe of the brain is involved during Yoga Nidra. Now, reticular activating system, which is called popularly as RAS. When the participant seeks the resolve, RAS gets activated and the practitioner will find ways and means to walk towards their goal, because it is much to do with the sensation and direction in life. Then, when the session takes the participant through the sensations, again this reticular activating system gets activated. So what happens is the frontal lobe and the reticular activating system work in tandem simultaneously during the process of Yoga Nidra. Now what happens? Emotions are also mentioned and invoked during the process. And we all know that the limbic system is involved in the process and connection with the emotions. So that aspect of the brain also is invoked and tapped. Finally, the occipital lobe, which is the domain of visualization, scientists say that this forms 20% of our brain's capacity. Because what you see is what you become, and what you think is what you become. If we keep seeing ourselves as good for nothing, we will eventually be good for nothing. If we see ourselves as a tool in the hands of the divine, or if we do not even subscribe to the concept of divinity, if we see ourselves as a good person doing good things and thinking good things, obviously we will end up doing those things. So it is this occipital lobe which is going to help us with these visualization aspects. So to give a short idea, this frontal lobe, reticular activating system, the limbic system, and the occipital lobe are a few aspects of our brain which are involved in this process of Yoga Nidra. So thus we can safely conclude that the process of Yoga Nidra allows us to scientifically rest, relax, rejuvenate, manage stress, understand ourselves better, and realize certain important desires of our life consciously. Don't you think that will build a lot of self-confidence and self-reliance? It will also inspire us to scale greater heights in life. This is just tip of the iceberg. Imagine the benefits of learning and practicing this process from the teachers connected with living traditions. The scope and the benefits are immense. Now let's understand Yoga Nidra in more simple terms. Because the vast majority in the world always associate yoga, the word yoga, with postures. But the term yoga has different meanings depending on the context and who uses it at which situation. A few meanings that could be derived from the word yoga with respect to Bhagavad Gita are having a balanced mind, which is samatvam yoga uchyate. Then yogaha karmasu kaushanam, which means dexterity in action. And one more meaning which is mentioned in chapter 6, shloka 23 is dukkha samyoga viyogam yoga. Severance from sorrow is considered as yoga. In the context of Yoga Nidra, yoga means awareness, and thus Swami Satyananda refers this to psychic sleep. Now, how Yoga Nidra works. In 1971, the US-based Menninger Foundation offered scientific proof of the efficacy of Yoga Nidra. But to limit this practice to a mere relaxation tool is a gross injustice that we can commit to this ancient wisdom. Because this is not just a simple tool, but a life-transforming process. We all know out of the five senses of smell, taste, form, touch, and sound, sound is the subtlest. Thus, going with the scientific approach of subtle is powerful than the gross, Yoga Nidra teachers use sound, that is, the verbal instructions, as a medium of communication. And what the teachers do is, through the instructions, which is again the medium of sound, they take the students to the depth of their own experience. From the instructions that help to relax the body, the practice then leads the students to various energy centers of the body, and with the help of breath awareness, those centers are worked upon. Then we get into the deeper recesses of our mind through visualizations, activating emotions, so that we become much aware of who we are and what we are made up of. And we will get to know what are the tendencies we have, what kind of issues we need to resolve, because they just develop on their own if there is a need. The key to success of Yoga Nidra practice is the timely introduction of the Sankalpa. This happens twice during the practice, once at the start and once at the end. Because the main purpose of doing Yoga Nidra for a majority of us is to manifest that Sankalpa and make life better and fulfilling. So, as we saw earlier, a resolve is nothing but a desire, which is our deeper need, something we wish to see coming true in this very life. In tradition, thus, Yoga Nidra is not taught as a simple weekend module, but as an elaborate life-changing process. This is done by introducing various concepts from the Veda, Tantra, and the Yoga traditions, such as Purushartha, the types of karma, Karma Siddhanta, because they give you a comprehensive view of the quality of the desires which we think are right for us. It helps to calibrate the desires and also helps us to prioritize them during the process of Yoga Nidra. Why is it important? At a time, only one desire as a resolve can be practiced. So we need to prioritize it. And as we say, we take up a resolve, use the same resolve for 21 days. And by 21 days, we are sure to see the desire manifested, or a direction is very clear that at some point that desire would be manifested. So what we do after 21 days, we just forgo of the resolve and just practice the process without a resolve. Now, what are the benefits of Yoga Nidra? Apart from the immediate benefits of relaxation and desire manifestation, it gradually takes us to the higher limbs of yoga, such as dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Because what is in vogue today is pratyahara yoga nidra. When someone goes deeper, they can experience dharana yoga nidra and dhyana yoga nidra. So this is the scope of the yoga nidra practice. Yoga Nidra trains us to use judgment at appropriate times in life. It helps us to develop trust, confidence, clarity of mind, emotional stability, perseverance, and above all, Yoga Nidra saves us from falling into the gallows of complexes, whether it is inferior or superior, because we would start getting a right measure of ourselves. By consistent practice under a teacher, gradually one would learn to instruct oneself and get on to the practice on their own, because the entire spiritual traditions of India do not believe in perpetual dependence. They are there for interdependence and ensure the practitioner or seeker becomes independent at some point in time in this very life itself. So to begin with, we listen to the instructions either through a recording or a live teacher is there to present the session. Over a period of time, when we get a grasp of the subject and the process and the way it has to be done, we can start giving instructions on our own as we lie down in Shavasana. This is another beautiful aspect. Yoga Nidra helps us to convert an asana, which is as simple as lying down, which we call as Shavasana, into a mudra, because a process, a asana which is done and held for more than 12 minutes becomes a mudra. So in this way, natural relaxation of body and mind happens when one practices Yoga Nidra in Shavasana. The beauty is the teachers of Yoga Nidra stand to gain a lot because it is an acid test. It is a practice that greatly transforms oneself from just being an Yogasana instructor into a full-fledged yoga teacher, because the sense of doership is withdrawn not only from the practitioner but also from the teacher, because the teacher at any point does not consult with the practitioner on the types of desires they have. It is an individual journey. The teachers can only give guidance from Veda, Tantra, and Yoga on the type of desires one could have, but the specific desires are decided by the practitioner themselves. Thus, the teacher or the instructor need not know what is the resolve that the practitioner is having in their heart, because it is everyone's journey of self-discovery and nobody needs to know our desires and our resolves. So, confidentiality of the process can be maintained at all levels. Now, the teacher or instructor needs to think that they are just someone who is delivering the process. Like in software companies, we have delivery managers, and someone delivers post, courier, or pizza at home. They just deliver the process. What is in the process, what is delivered, it all depends on who is receiving the process. It depends on the karma of the person who is receiving it. So the teacher acts as just a conduit between the process and the practitioner. So the sense of ownership is also withdrawn from the teacher. So the teacher should not take any pride if their practitioner is manifesting their resolve. So what Yoga Nidra is not? Yoga Nidra is not hypnotism, it's not mesmerism, It's not counseling or any psychological intervention as understood in the contemporary context. Because here, the practitioner decides what is their desire, practitioner decides to undergo the process, and the teacher or the recording is just a medium. The decisions are taken by the practitioner. So there is no third party involved in the entire process, if we like to approach it that way. Because in hypnotism and mesmerism and counseling, there is another physical person involved, and the result is dependent on their dexterity and their depth and proficiency. Here, everything is dependent more on the practitioner than on anything else. That is a beautiful difference, and it is very important to understand this difference between Yoga Nidra and any other interventions one may undertake for relaxation or desire manifestation. Second, there is a difference between affirmation and a resolve. In affirmation, the person who practices clearly knows that it is not true, but they keep saying over and over again to make them believe. But deep within, they clearly know that affirmation is not right at that point of time. Now, coming back to the resolve, the practitioner is very clear that that particular desire has not yet manifested, but it is a need. So they are operating from the state of reality. This is another key difference between affirmation and the resolves used in Yoga Nidra. Though some great teachers ask us to use affirmations in the place of resolve, if we need long lasting and deeper experience, it is better to treat resolve as a resolve and not as an affirmation. Hope it's clear. Then the visuals mentioned during the process invokes various emotions, thoughts, etc., and help us to understand and sort out any issues that are hidden in the deeper recesses of our own being. So, what's the conclusion? Yoga Nidra is one of the most well known practices to experience Pratyahara, which is the fifth limb of yoga. It's not only a practice for students, but also a training ground for teachers to develop detachment and stay away from ownership of the results of whatever they are offering or sharing or teaching. This helps both the practitioner and the teacher to develop the sense of witness, and they can observe a seamless progress in the journey of self discovery, and their flights into the higher dimensions of yoga is for sure going to happen in this very life. So, what the practice of Yoga Nidra does? It first gives us the remote control of our emotions back to ourselves, because we start to understand that there are n number of things that can happen around us which we were allowing to impact on us without filtering which to be allowed and which not to be allowed. So once we practice this process of Yoga Nidra in a consistent way, it helps us to develop awareness. Thereby, we become better witness to the life around and the thoughts within. The more we are in witness, the more we are prepared to face whatever happens to us in life. Gradually, at higher levels of practice, Yoga Nidra would help us to realize our deep desires, which we think that define us and our very life. Remember, at some point, we need to move ahead beyond this stage of manifesting desires to living a life of just be, so that grace can be tapped. Now, let's practice the process of Yoga Nidra. Ideally, you need to pause this recording now. Get your yoga mat, spread it out, or spread a blanket or a carpet, and prepare yourself to lie down like a corpse. completely still, absolutely motionless, but with a gentle smile on your face and with closed eyes. Some of you may feel that you may slip into sleep if you lie down and listen to a soothing voice. So you could choose to sit on a recliner or a chair where you can stay still till further instructions to move your body. So again, let me request you to pause this and prepare yourself before proceeding further. Thank you. Now, body is absolutely still and steady, alert and aware. Eyes are gently closed. There is a gentle smile on your face. If you are lying down, let your heels be at least 2.5 feet apart from each other so that the low back completely rests on the mat and it relaxes. Let your hands be slightly away from the body. Once you do that, you would experience the shoulder too relaxes. Adjust your neck so that the head is reasonably comfortable. And now let there be a gentle smile on your face throughout the practice. A gentle smile will help you to retain your awareness to the present moment. It helps you to hold your mind to the present moment and facilitates better practice of this process. Now, just be aware of the various sounds around you. Each of you could hear different sounds depending on the time zone and the country that you live in. With a smiling face and still body, just be aware of the sounds as and when they happen. Sometimes the mind would preempt and think which could be the next sound, what could be the pattern of the present sound. So tell your mind you are training it to be a witness. All it needs to do is to maintain a smiling face and a still body. Till the end of the process, thinking is being suspended and just being in the present moment is activated. Allow your mind to be aware of each and every sound around you. It could be a known sound, unheard of before, or a rhythmic sound from the wall clock, a chirp of a bird or an insect, or the vehicle passing by, or the sound of your air conditioner, or people talking around, or someone listening to a radio or watching television. Remember, you are a witness. A witness is one who observes things as they are. Let whatever happen, happen. When we adopt this mindset, we allow ourselves to keep the remote control of the emotions with ourselves. So, whichever sound that happens, so be it. Just Be aware of it. For some of you, the mind would travel elsewhere. Gently remind yourself you are attempting to practice the process of Yoginidra and develop the ability to be a witness. Keep getting your mind back to the awareness of sounds around you. Now, gradually become aware of the entire body that is lying down either in the corpse pose or seated on a chair or recliner, whichever position or whichever place where you are. Ensure that stillness and steadiness are part of your body right now. Now be aware of your right thumb, right index finger, middle finger, right index finger, right little finger, the right hand, right palm, right wrist, right forearm, right elbow, right upper arm, right shoulder, right shoulder blade, the space between the right shoulder blade and the right hip, the right buttock, right thigh, the right knee, the right calf, right ankle, right sole, the right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, the right little toe. Ensure that you are aware and awake. Now gradually become aware of the left thumb, left index finger, middle finger, ring finger, left little finger. Be aware of the left hand, left palm, left wrist, left forearm, left elbow, left upper arm, left shoulder, the space between the left shoulder and the left hip, left buttock, left thigh, left knee, left calf, left ankle, left sole, the left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and the left little toe. Ensure you are aware and awake. Now, once again, check whether the smile is intact and body is absolutely still and steady. Now, gradually become aware of your breath. Observe, observe how breath enters and exits the body. Ensure the mouth is closed and breathing is happening through the nostrils. Again, remind yourself that you are a witness. So allow breathing to happen and allow yourself to observe the process of breathing whenever it happens. Sometimes there could be a deep pause between inhalation and exhalation. It's absolutely okay. All you need to do is to just be a witness of the breathing process. If the mind goes elsewhere, get your mind back to the breathing process with a gentle smile. Continue to keep your eyes closed and maintain stillness of the body. Now, from the breath, bring your awareness back to the body. And from the body, become aware of the various sounds around you. Now, as you are aware of the sounds around you, give gentle movements to your toes and fingers and prepare the body to come back to a seated position. If you are lying down, if you are seated, still you can keep your eyes closed, but give gentle movements to your toes and the fingers. Now interlock your fingers and take the hands above the head And as you inhale, give a nice stretch. Those of you who are lying down can also get your legs together and stretch your body. And as you exhale, relax. Practice this inhalation, stretch during inhalation, and relaxation during exhalation. Couple of more times at your own breathing pace. Now, if you are seated, you could practice palming, that is, rub your palms, generate some heat, and make a cup of your palms, place them over your eyelids, transfer the warm sensation, practice it 2 to 3 times, and before you open your eyes, hold your palms like a book before yourself. Look at the palms with few blinks. Familiarize your eyes with the luminosity around, and then feel free to look anywhere. Those of you who are lying down also could place the left palm on their abdomen, bend their left leg, turn to the right, straighten the legs, place the left palm before the chest on the ground or the mat, and very gently, with the help of your hands, come up to a seated position and practice palming as instructed earlier. Now, again, I would request you to pause this recording for a few seconds and maintain silence for at least 30 seconds. And then come back to listen to the concluding minute of this recording. As you do all this, thank your mind and body and the cosmos and the organizers of this wonderful series of learning. To conclude, the practice of Yoga Nidra helps us to develop a state of witness, thereby being mindful becomes more easy than ever before. The more we are mindful, the better our life is. Better are the ways we will understand how life works, how grace is ever flowing, and we become more eligible to tap that grace, utilize it for ourselves, and share for those who may be in need of it and who are seeking it. That's it from us. Thank you. Namaste. Have a great year ahead.